Welcome to the Inquirer 1.0. Today, slightly different. This is a story from Harry Roberts himself, who told me this when I was serving time with him in Channings Wood, HMP Channings Wood, which is in Newton Abbot, the southwest, in 2004. Now, we were watching Grand Prix in his cell, and he told me this story in detail. So with that being said, if you could smash the likes out, guys, I'm going to get to it. Right, just to give you a backdrop of the events, I'd been sentenced to a wounding with intent joint enterprise charge. I was stitched up on the charge, but we can go into that at another time. The year was 2004. I got moved. I was in Bristol, Hallfield, for around about 6 months. I put in a request I'm actually from Stoke-on-Trent, but I put a request in to go to a prison in the southwest as my allocated prison, due to the fact my mother was very, very poorly with cancer at the time. And if she did have the chance, if she got a bit better to visit, it would be closer for her. Okay. So I eventually get the move to Channings Wood. Never been there before. Don't know much about it. Get in the sweatbox. Get to Newton Abbot. Now, in HMP Channings Wood, it's actually, at that time, I don't know what it's like now, in 2004, it's quite a progressive prison, CCAT. It's like in the middle of nowhere, really. It was lots of walking around space, fields. There's a few different living blocks. After a short period of time in the main living block, I got moved to the enhanced wing. Now, the enhanced, not wing, it was an enhanced living block. Okay. And not everyone could go in here. This was mostly lifers coming down through the system to get them prepared to their next move. And Harry Roberts was one of those people. And it was a bit different to the other enhanced wings. It was a separate living block. It had like a fish tank in there, had like a little gym. So it was a lot better than the other living blocks. And there was quite a few notorious people in at the time there. Some armed robbers who were doing long sentences. There was quite a few murderers one whom I got into a bit of a beef with, who was like about 6'10", massive guy. He killed a couple of wrong-uns, and he'd been locked up for life, and he was on his way down. And then there was Harry Roberts. Now, I managed to get myself on what you call remedials. So if you've got like a slight injury or whatever, if you get yourself on remedials, you can go to the gym every day, every morning, for about 20 minutes. So I got myself on there, and I'd go in and I would just smash the row machine and then do bench press. Now, Harry, I didn't even notice Harry Roberts at this point. There was an old guy in there. For those who don't know, Harry Roberts was notorious for the killing of 3 police officers. I think it was in the 60s. And people used to chant his name on the terraces, bit of a cool hero and all this kind of thing. Obviously, terrible crimes what he committed, but that, I'm just telling you how it was back then. So with it being a government prison, you didn't have your own clothes at that point. So everyone was in just like, you have green anorak, grey jumpers, purple t-shirt, purple green t-shirts, joggers. You could have your own trainers. Now I go in, smash the row machine, get on the bench. Then this old guy was always on the bench. But when I say old guy, he looked like an old guy, but when he took his top off, he was ripped. Do you know what I mean? He had like a body of a 30-year-old, and he must have been then in 2004. What would he have been? About 70 or late 60s, something like that. Anyhow, this first time I've gone there, I'm walking back with this guy, big black kid, 6'10". He was in for torture, kidnapping, and all this kind of thing. Anyway, me and him are chatting, and he says, "You know who that guy is, don't you?" And Harry was walking in front of us, probably about 200 yards in front of us, back to the wings, living blocks. I said, no. I said, but he could bench decent. He was benching hundreds, I think. He was doing like sort of 10s. He'd warm up with nothing, just on the 20 bar, and then he would be doing like 10s, 7s, 5s, something like that. He said it's Harry Roberts. Now, I knew of Harry Roberts because I was involved in the football scene for quite a lot when I was younger. And like I say, his name was chanted on the things, so that sort of intrigued me anyway. Obviously we're both on remedials. I get chatting. I'm chatting to him, and he spots me. I spot him, and this goes on for probably 6 months, something. Then, because he took time to get to know people and whatnot. He was on the 2s, and I was on the 1s in our specific living block area on our wing. He invites me up to watch the Grand Prix in his cell this Sunday. So I've gone up, cup of tea, whatever, having a chat, and we started getting chatting. A few stories here, a few stories there, that kind of thing. And it gets on to the craze. I'm asking him about the craze and what he thought of him, etc., etc. And he starts telling me that basically, to him, they were effectively ponces. He said that there was lots of good money getters like himself and his team and other people whom didn't have the respect that they maybe have had of other people. He said they did try and say to him that he had to give them certain proceeds of one robbery that he took place in, and he rebuffed them. He wouldn't turn up at their place to meet them because he said that they were notorious for having people like mob-handed in the back, and then they'd sort you out, sort of thing, when you came in. He wasn't scared of him. He always used to have firearms on him and everything else, and like quite a few other independent armed robbers, which was seen as being at the top of your tree back then, in terms of having bottle and all that kind of thing. He wasn't going to cower down to him. Anyway, he told me of an incident, and I'm not sure about the dates here, but I think Reg had just got in, because I think Harry was in before Reg and Ron got sentenced. I'm not sure what prison it was in. And Harry was well into his weights, and Reg knew this. Now, out of the two, Reg and Ron, a lot of the people who were close with him said that Reg was the more dangerous one, and Ronnie was actually, when he wasn't like off his head on his meds or hadn't had his meds and it was like mental health, was like the more kinder one, who was really quite not bothered about money and stuff. He'd help people out, etc. Whereas Reg was really bang on the cash, very, very quietly spoken, but very dangerous. He was a better boxer of the two as well. Anyway, this is how it went. This is what Harry told me. Basically, Harry was in the gym. Reggie's come in and asked him very quietly, politely, if he could train with him. And Reg said, yeah, no problem. He said, you can train with me. Reggie's doing his sets. Harry's doing his sets. And it gets to Reggie's turn. Reggie's gone to go and lift the same weights that Harry was lifting. And Harry just said, look, Reg, you're only just getting into weights. It's better if you start off on some lighter weights, get used to it. I'm sure you can work your way up quick, etc. Reg, no expression. Thank you so much for your advice. I'm just going to get back to myself. And it's gone. And Harry's thinking, well, have I upset him? I mean, what's going on there? And just turned around and got on with his business. The next thing you know, he feels a bang from the side, spins round, and it's Reg Cray attacking him. And they both start having it, trading punches, fall to the floor, both fighting out on the floor, and it gets broken up. And they're obviously wanting to get at each other. And then apparently, this was all over the fact that Reg felt Harry had disrespected him by saying that he couldn't lift the same weights as him. And apparently the next day it got squashed. I think Reg went and shook his hand, and it was over. But I thought that was quite an interesting anecdote. I know my good friend Yami's touched on this one on his channel, this story which I told him, but I thought I'd let you know about it and how it sort of came about and all that type of thing. And if you want more little anecdotal prison stories like this for people I've met and some of the times I've had in there, lots of different things going on back in that time of my life, which was many years ago now, let me know in the comments. All right, guys, thank you.